My dad got married 5 years ago. I, nearly adult male, had my whole world turned upside down by it because he married someone who had a bitter ex, and she has kids, pre-tween, tween and tween, with him. Her ex smashed our downstairs windows, which we can't prove. He attacked my dad, which he served 5 months. He used to sit outside the house for hours and he'd say threatening crap, or he'd insult me and my dad and dad's wife. The police were in and out of the house a lot and they were called on him a lot by my dad and his wife. I couldn't have friends over during the worst of that stuff. I couldn't leave the house without my dad. I couldn't even go to my mom's grave in case the ex followed. There were times her ex started crap and I was asked to basically comfort the kids because they wanted to see their dad and hug him, but my dad's wife wanted them kept away. He had them 50% of the time and those times were very different. I liked it much better when they weren't here, but dad's wife was fighting for custody. A lot of legal stuff happened. A lot of stuff was said. The ex showed up and stalked us often. It was stressful and intense, and my dad pulled me from all my extracurriculars after a while because he wanted me to be safe. I resented him for putting me through it, but I also resented his wife for letting others' lives get messed up because of her ex. She was just some woman, and Dad put being with her over my safety since he was so worried about it. She would say how glad she was that she and the kids had a better family, and yet she didn't mind messing up our lives. We had a few more incidents with crap getting destroyed and security cameras not getting a face or a good look at the person doing it. It got really bad for that stuff when my dad's wife was given primary custody and her ex every other weekend. It eventually got a little better. There's still toxic crap with my dad's wife and her ex, but my dad and his wife act like everything's perfect and we're some happy family. I wish my dad never met his wife. I don't like her, and I can't wait to turn 18 and no longer deal with any of the ex-idiots. I have a job which I can't work late because we still have to take precautions because of the ex, and I get to do what I want again, with some added restrictions. My dad knows how I feel, but I never let it all out there. But he knows, he can feel it. But his wife really believed we were a real family. Last weekend, she asked me to ask for a different shift at work so I could help her out with an errand. She wanted to pick up some DIY stuff and wanted my help lifting and carrying. I told her I wouldn't do it. She said she thought it would be fun, and since I like DIY stuff, she thought I'd be willing to help. I told her I wasn't, and she wanted to know why, and I let her know that she brought nothing but trouble into my life and I didn't want to help her. She took it hard, and my dad looked upset after she told him. She asked if I hated her for her ex's actions. I told her she didn't care about the trouble she brought into my life, so why would I care if she was otherwise the victim? I told her she selfishly brought other people into her mess. Later in the week, my dad asked me if I'd be willing to help her another time, and I said no. He told me he was disappointed that I resented them finding each other and building a life together. He said he thought our new family was worth it and hoped I'd feel the same. I told him I didn't, and I said he wasn't blameless either. Am I the idiot? In this situation, I'd say no one's an idiot. Your dad's wife is a victim, but it's also true that her past has seriously messed up your life, and naturally you'd be resentful of that. And being expected to deal with and comfort her children must also be frustrating. It's unfair that you've had your life so curtailed by things that are not in your control. My only suggestion is to try and be patient and civil until you're old enough to leave. Disagree, the wife is not a victim. She chose him. She decided to have not one, not two, but 3 kids with him over the span of years. She knew who he was. I guarantee he didn't magically change overnight. Still, I blame your dad the most. For being captain, save a woman at the expense of his own kids. People saying his father's wife is the victim is correct, but so was OP. When stuff was happening to the wife and her kids, it still happened to OP and his father. That's the point he's trying to make. He was there and witnessed these incidents because his father put him in that situation. Now, for a second, imagine if OP's mum hadn't passed, that his parents were just divorced, and his father was in this relationship as is. His father would have lost custody as he wouldn't be able to provide a safe environment for his child. But as he only has his dad, it's okay to put him in that situation. I hate it when the adults are this disgusting and put their BS on their kids. Screw your dad, he's a bad person. Screw your stepmom for only caring about her kids and destroying your childhood. Being without your mother wasn't enough of a painful childhood too. She had to take away the rest of your innocent childhood by having a monster at your door 24/7. Your father put his need for companionship over your need for safety. He's delusional and continues putting your life in danger. His wife has primary custody, and the toxic ex has more time on his hands to plot and observe and stalk. I'm so sorry you've experienced and continue to experience this. So my male 23 best friend's male 20 girlfriend 20 added me on Snapchat about 2 weeks ago, asking if I'd like to participate in this gift idea she had for his 21st birthday. The idea was to have a bunch of his friends and her family get him 21 different album vinyls for his record player to celebrate him turning 21 and have him open it at her grandmother's house. She asked if I'd like to be a part of the idea and get him one of them, and of course I said yes. So I ordered the vinyl I had in mind for him and waited for it to be delivered to my house. Which brings us to today. The vinyl finally came in the mail and his birthday is just under 2 weeks away. I messaged his girlfriend and this is the conversation that followed. Me, hey, his vinyl finally came in the mail. Her, great, I'll have my friend come pick it up later this week. Me, what do you mean? Aren't we all meeting at your grandmother's house to celebrate and watch him open the gifts? Her, I'm recording him opening all of them. Me, what do you mean you're going to record it? I can't come to watch him open the gift I'm getting him. Her, no. Me, I genuinely can't tell if you're joking. Her, I'm not joking. Me, so you're celebrating his 21st birthday with you, him and your nana, and you asked me to get a gift and not come? Am I hearing this right? Her, no, he's just opening his gifts here. Me, I understand that, but you said you're going to record it and that I can't be there to watch. Her, yeah, and? Nobody else is going to be here either. My friend said she can pick your crap up this week. Mind you, when she first messaged me 2 weeks ago, she said we're all going to watch him open them on his birthday, so I was under the impression we do the sensible thing and bring him the gifts. Am I losing my mind, or is this incredibly rude? I feel pretty upset considering he and I have been friends for 13 years, and it appears that I'm no longer invited to the celebration where she plans to have him open all these vinyl gifts she's having everyone get for him. What do I even do about this? It puts me in a tough spot because now I have to decide between conceding my self-respect by letting her gift him my gift or risking the purpose and punctuality of the surprise gift idea for him, because if I refuse to give her the vinyl, he'll only have 20 to open at one time instead of 21 to match his age. I know that my showing up to the celebration uninvited would be pretty awkward, so that's off the table, but what should I do here? Do I give in and let her take the vinyl to give to him from me, or should I just say, no, I'll just give in to it myself? Am I an idiot for wanting to remove myself from this plan? Not the idiot. Call your friend up, leaving the girlfriend idiot out of the loop, and tell him that something came up and you won't be able to make the party and that you want to give him his gift early. That way you'll be able to see your friend open the gift you gave him and just watch her lose her ever-loving crap at the party when you show up without a gift and say that the other thing was cancelled. This whole thing can be done in 24 hours leading up to the party. Get the popcorn ready. I don't understand why his 21st birthday is with her grandmother and not his friends. That sounds boring. Maybe I'm cynical, but do you know if she wanted you to buy the gifts and her to get all the credit? Like, never say the gifts came from all of you? If she got 21 people to give gifts and none of them are invited, that's incredibly rude and does very much suggest she's going to take more credit than is her due. Does your friend even know that his entire birthday party is his girlfriend and his girlfriend's nana, that none of his friends are going to be there and it's just going to be a video of him opening gifts? Because that sounds like a super crappy party and you should probably make sure he's aware of it. I, 23 female, have been planning a Europe backpacking trip for my graduation. Since most of my close friends are younger and planning their trip next year, I decided to go solo this summer. My friend Avery, 22 female, casually mentioned she'd love to join me and I was excited. I like the idea of having company, especially since I've never been to Europe before. From the start, I was doing all the planning. I told her I wanted to go for 3 weeks and she said she'd probably only do 2, which was fine. My top priorities were France and Italy, but I was open to adjusting. I sent her itineraries, researched hostels and figured out logistics. She mostly responded with excited TikToks but wasn't actively planning. The biggest issue? Booking the trip. For months I asked her to book flights, but she kept delaying, saying we should book hotels first or that she needed to check with her parents or sort out her summer job. Last week I put my foot down and told her that if we wanted to go in early June, we had to book ASAP before prices went up. She promised we'd book that weekend, then nothing happened. On top of that, our travel styles were completely different. I wanted a high-end backpacking trip, staying in female-only hostels, meeting new people, and keeping a flexible itinerary. She suddenly decided she was too scared of hostels and only wanted to stay in hotels, which made the trip more expensive. She also insisted on pre-booking every flight, train and hotel, while I wanted some structure but also the freedom to be spontaneous, maybe deciding at the last minute to go to Switzerland instead of Croatia, for example. Between our back and forth, we ended up with just Spain and Croatia, two places that weren't even on my top list. I wanted to visit multiple countries, but she didn't want to go to Italy and insisted on only 2 destinations. Her plan was 10 days in Spain and 4 in Croatia, which felt way too slow-paced for me. At this point, it felt like my grad trip had turned into her ideal vacation. I wanted an exciting, spontaneous adventure, one of my last chances to do something crazy before settling into my career. Instead, she was pushing for a structured, rigid trip that felt like something I'd do with my mom or a retired couple. I booked my trip alone since she still wouldn't commit, and flights were getting more expensive. When I saw her yesterday, she told me she was finally ready to book. I told her I'd already made plans to go solo, and she got really upset, saying I hurt her feelings and she couldn't believe I'd do this to her. I feel bad because I know she was excited, but I also gave her months to commit. Am I the idiot for booking my trip solo? Not the idiot. You weren't ditching her, you were escaping trip purgatory. She had months to commit and just kept stalling. At some point, you had to choose between waiting forever or actually going on the adventure you wanted. She can plan her dream structured trip next year, and you can live your best spontaneous backpacker life now. Win-win. Slightly you are the idiot for not just telling her about your decision, even once you've booked, and waiting for her to come to you, excited to finally book tickets before breaking the news. If you value the friendship, have a talk with her that you're sorry you made this decision by yourself, but that you recognize that you both have very different expectations and that they don't match. In the future, it's good to learn to have an open conversation before you make a solo decision. Disagree. A friend had every opportunity to set this up and didn't. I had to do this once and I'd do it again. No matter how much I love one of my friends, if they're incapable of committing to anything more than a weekend hangout, no matter how much they talked about wanting to travel together. Yes, it was uncomfortable, and I felt bad when I told her I booked a trip. She'd postponed booking 3 times already at that point. I could see she was surprised and taken aback, but on this issue, all this to say, don't let her blame you for recognizing her behavior for what it was. She may not like the idea that she's someone who's selfish or flaky, but that's what her behavior in this instance translated to. My brother met his wife 6.5 years ago. She was semi-recently divorced with 2 daughters, a pre-tween and a young grammar schooler at the time. She was honest about wanting more kids, which was why she divorced. It was also clear while my brother was dating her that her daughters knew the reason and resented her and him for it. He told me she wanted a large family of 6 or more kids. I told him there were many red flags, and what about the daughters she already had? I asked him if they thought she'd accept half-siblings born to them when it was clear they saw the situation as they weren't good enough or just plain enough for their mom, and she blew up the family to have more kids. He told me kids come around in time, and if they had kids quickly, the age gap would be small enough for a good relationship to form. I told him he should really consider whether this was the makings of a happy family or of a fractured one. He told me I was being overly negative. Right now, my brother has a kindergartner, a preschooler and a toddler with his wife, and her daughters do not claim any of them as siblings. The best they can offer is completely ignoring their half-siblings, but that doesn't happen as much as them getting mad at their younger half-siblings. It's clear they resent them for being born. They hate my brother and speak to him like he's trash they found on the bottom of their shoes. Their relationship with their mom seems to be more fights than anything else. I had a front row seat to several fights between them and heard the girls' comments about the younger kids. Now my brother has tried crying to me because his oldest is sad that the girls ignore her. She doesn't understand and she wants to sit with her older sisters and watch TV with them or play dolls, but either they ignore her or they yell at her and tell her she's not their sister. The 3 kids have witnessed fights between their mom and older sisters. They've heard their older sister say incredibly angry and hurtful things, and the oldest is able to repeat things more. It upsets my brother. He doesn't understand how the girls can reject the kids so easily and how they truly don't seem to have any sibling or familial affection for them. He told me he hates it makes him depressed, and he's not sure what's going to happen and he feels this and that. His focus was on him and I wasn't here for it. I told him to stop crying to me when I was the person who warned him about this, who pointed out the red flags and he ignored it. I told him instead he needs to get his crap together and figure out what's best for his kids and how he can do the best for his kids now that he's helped to create this mess. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. These poor girls really have no one in their corner. Their mother sucks so bad and your brother is dumb as heck. I can't believe anyone thought this mess would work out fine. You warned him and he dismissed it. Now that reality slaps him in the face, he wants sympathy instead of taking responsibility. He doesn't understand how his wishful thinking was just that and not the reality he was dealing with when the girls had already been pretty clear about their true evaluation of their mother and her subsequent relationship and potential offspring. He doesn't understand? Heck, your brother and his wife are awful, selfish people who have created this toxic environment. Everyone worries about the new kids and their feelings, and the older kids are being dismissed again. What a crap show! Now there are going to be 5 kids that grow up to be adults with a host of issues because the adults in their lives are selfish idiots. My advice? Take the younger 3 out and give them a special day to temporarily forget about the mess that is their home.